Thank you for staying for the news. Let's get to our first story now. The National Road Safety Authority is checking the roadworthiness of school buses that transport students to private schools in the Malambwe neighborhood. This is in response to calls by some parents that these buses are unfit for their intended use. There is more in this report by Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
The National Road Safety Authority says it has observed that some buses transporting school children across the country are not fit for purpose. Generally, some of the buses appear to be rickety, and some are seats without seat belts, and many more. Today, a team from the National Road Safety Authority are here to inspect the buses, to discuss the faults that they find with these buses, and to give recommendation to the head teachers.
And no one should sit here, but it seems they are managing this place for students to sit.
So once you found these things out, something like this out, what do you intend to do? Because this time around, you're not going to be here, and they are still going to continue to use this with the students.
Yeah, so what we will do is that we report to the transport manager, and then they will do something about it. They will make sure that no students will sit here. And then looking at how the condition of the bus, some portion of the seats are not functioning. Looking at the seat belt,
sure,
this one they are not even using. You can see that dust.
It's dusty.
Yeah, they are not using, but which means they are supposed to use it all right, but they are not using. Okay, so we are from National Road Safety. We are doing checks on your car. So far, what we've seen is that there are some places where students are not supposed to sit, but they are sitting. You see where the engine, when you enter, they are not supposed to sit there.
Okay.
But we've put in some cushion for students to sit on, which is not safe. Yeah. And then we have seen that we are having a fire extinguisher and then first aid box. Because you were not here, we decided to check. And then the seat, when they sit on the, they are supposed to have a seat belt. Do you get it? But the seat belt is there, but you are not using. You are not using the other side that has it. No, we've checked. We've seen that they have seat belts.
The authority has been given mandate for institutional compliance. So the authority is supposed to ensure that every institution complies with the road safety regulations. And also we realized that last year we gave a directive to all schools to make sure that their buses are in order. We also informed them that there should be an adult who will be in the bus to help the driver when the students are getting down, when they are lighting, when they need to cross. Yes, and there is also supposed to be a traffic warden at the roadside helping the students to cross to come to school. So it was necessary that we come around and make sure that these notices that we've given to them, they are going according to it. So
no, this is just the beginning. This is not going to be the end. So we just started. So it's running nationwide. So we are ensuring that throughout the year we are going to go to all the schools that we've been. This is just a warning. We'll go back and do a follow-up and make sure that they've really go by what we ask them to do. If they've not done it, then there's going to be sanctions. So what is going to happen is if you don't comply, then obviously your license is going to be revoked. And that's one of the sanctions. And you're also going to be fined penalty units.
Just as we've heard from the National Road Safety Authority, measures are being put in place to ensure the safety of our children on the roads. For Joy News, Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
Information Minister Kojo Ponkroma wants consensus building between government and stakeholders for economic progress. He says an effective collaboration between the two is what the country needs to develop. He was speaking to the leadership of the Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council, which presented a communique from their annual national conference.
Thank you for this visit to us and for bringing these issues through us to central government. It's always good that we have the opportunity to engage with our fathers. And I also want to commend you for the successful nature of your annual conference. Again, I want to acknowledge the fact that you didn't only focus on spiritual matters. Those spiritual matters are very, very important. I fellowship at the International Central Gospel Church with my prayer partner here. And I also spent some time in worship and prayer at the World Prayer Center, Prophet Nanase Opoku Sarkodie. And between the two places, there's a lot of admonition about righteousness and holiness, not just salvation, but righteousness and holiness even here on earth. So I think that even your mention of it this morning as something that the church wants to advocate a lot more for fits within a certain broader context of what is ongoing. But even beyond that, I'm happy to know that there are contemporary issues that are engaging your attention and you want to speak about it. I think the comment I'll make at this stage is that we are pleased to see some deepened engagement. We can all agree that our engagement over the years could have been better than it is now. Yes. But I think it is good to see that we are seeing some deepened engagement, and there's a need for this constant engagement so that we can build consensus between government and various stakeholders to move our society forward. Any conversation in which all parties are holding on to their previously entrenched position is a conversation that will most likely not move forward. So it is good to know that we are deepening engagement and that between government and various stakeholders we can move forward. Different stakeholders come to matters with different views, but it is through engagement that we are able to find common ground. The matters that you have raised, some of which I see here, are of keen interest to any administration, including this administration, and they are matters that I believe we should take seriously. Just a couple of things that I would say to wrap up my remarks. Faith-based organizations like the church and for other religions, there are other groups, are our foundation. You are our North Star. And though sometimes there may be differences in how the society should be governed or things should be done, I think that it is important to, while we engage a lot more with you so that we don't miss our North Star. At the same time, I think it's also important that the other elements of the society are also, may I say, brought apart with some of the things that I think some deepened understanding will make it easier for us to, congregate on. And so I will ferry this to central government, and as you draw the attention of other groups to it, I hope that they would also ferry it to central government and that all sides will work towards a certain common understanding of what we desire to do as a country.
Now, metal kiosks are used for commercial and sometimes residential activities in Ghana. More often than not, they are transported from one location to another. However, the materials used to fabricate these containers are unsuitable for transport. These containers therefore end up being defaced or partially destroyed during movement. Fortunately, the Department of Industrial Art of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology has developed a transportable container kiosk. On Tech Thursday, Love FM's Kwesi Deborah speaks with the innovator, Dr. Samuel Ban-Kisi.
Researchers discovered that these containers rusted at a fast rate due to the use of mild steel instead of galvanized steel to manufacture them. Mild steel appeared less resistant to atmospheric conditions and even rusted faster because they were placed on concrete. To address these problems, the study developed an alternative design that is easily dismountable, transportable, and easily assembled without damaging its quality and physical outlook. The new design addresses the problem of rust by creating pedestals that are not made of cement. Dr. Samuel Ban-Kisi is the lead researcher.
There's this nuisance when you walk through the streets in Ghana, Kumasi, and in Accra specifically, you come to realize that there are a lot of these metal kiosks or metallic containers all around, which people use, and then their colors, the way they've been situated, it doesn't make the streets so aesthetically appealing. And then being an artist, and also coming from the background of science and technology, of which I work over there as KNUST lecturer, then why don't you come up with something to better the life of the people? I really wish that this research work in itself will be taken up and it gives so much on the transportability and then demountability, in that one will be able to be demountable, that will be able to disassemble quickly, and then also reassemble wherever, and then also transport it to wherever you want to go to with ease. Now, depending on what it will be used for, it is going to be used as, let's say, permanent or a resident or for residential purpose. Then there are some details that we put in place if you make an order. If you want it to be used basically for retails and all of that, yeah, once you build in the kiosk or that form, there are some details that we put into place. But the point is that there are many that are coming up, that are containers and all of that, and they are not meant for the general public. Those ones are huge, expensive. But this research now looks at the general public, the Ghanaian person, the general normal Ghanaian who want to build his kiosk, who want to build a container, how much goes into it, and then how energy, we can conserve energy, how we can also use that simple or little space to make the street beautiful without incurring costs in the future if you want to move it that way.
Reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Let's head now to the Upper West region, and Chairman of the Regional Security Council, Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali, believes government is committed to retooling security agencies to ensure that they execute their mandate satisfactorily. He says government has done this by increasing peacekeeping allowances from $31 a day to $35, and also supported initiatives that provide further educational opportunities for security personnel to enhance their skills at maintaining peace, security, and the territorial integrity of the country. Rafiq Salam reports.
The 10 Mechanized Agri-Barracks, better known as Home of Peoples, was the host of the first Joint West Africa Security Service social activities was a celebration in the Upper West region. This year's celebration is unique. Hitherto, the various security agencies in the region used to hold the event separately. The event, which should have been held at the tail end of last year, but owing to some operational exigencies in the one municipality, it was however postponed. The occasion, which is fully funded by the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, President Akufo-Addo, is aimed at socializing, interacting, and making merry after a lengthy mandated and hectic year of work as law enforcement officers. Present at the function was members of the Upper West Regional Security Council, led by its chairman, Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali, and municipal and district chief executives, heads of decentralized departments, and some selected security personnel in the region. Upper West Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali stated that government is determined to give support that is required to ensure that security agencies in the country do their work without any let or hindrance.
In furtherance of our commitment to improving your welfare, this administration has increased the peacekeeping allowance effective January 2017 from $31 to $35. Government is also committed to enriching the human resource base of our security services by supporting initiatives that will provide further education for officers and other ranks of our security services to enhance their skill at maintaining peace, security, and protecting our territorial integrity.
Principal State Attorney at the Office of the Attorney General's Department in the Upper West region, Lawyer Saeed Abdul Shakur, was commending the security agencies for working to ensuring that there is peace in the country, however aid for communal support for them to enable them execute their mandate. Lawyer Saeed, however, wants the security services to weed out some bad nuts that have slipped through into the profession and tarnishing their image.
If you find one indisciplined person in any security service, the person constitutes a grave present danger to any other officer. And I want to entreat the leadership that if you find them, don't shield them. Take steps to weed them out for your own sake and for the sake of society. The reputation that the military, let me take the military out for, the reputation they enjoy is because of the way they swiftly deal with officers that fall by the wayside. And I want to encourage all other security services to ensure that if anybody fumbles, the person should be taken out immediately for your own sake.
Commander of the 10th Mechanized Battalion, Lieutenant Colonel Francis Kwesi Jiman, pledged the commitment of the security agencies to working together to ensuring that the security of the nation remains their topmost priority.
I envision a future where the security services are united in effort and where cooperation and collaboration are the norms. This can be achieved through several measures that I would like to highlight few. One, it is crucial that we maintain our regular communication and collaboration between ourselves. This could be done through regular meetings and joint training exercises where we can exchange best practices, share information, and coordinate our efforts. Secondly, I believe that it is important for us to invest in technology and training to enhance our capabilities.
Reporting for the news, Rafik Salam.
In our next story, former Minister for Public-Private Partnership, Dr. Rashid Pelpuo, is worried about the number of dilapidated school structures in the country. He says he feels embarrassed and ashamed anytime he sees students learning in these structures. That's another report put together by Rafik Salam.
Former Minister of Private-Public Partnership, Dr. Rashid Hassan Pelpuo, stated that he felt embarrassed and shameful anytime he sees dilapidated school structures with children lying on the rough dirty bare floor to write. He went in for the jugular of the MPP government and blamed them on their refusal to continue with the policy of the NDC government in expanding infrastructure in the education sector to accommodate the maze of students.
For areas where the deplorable conditions are very glaring, as he says, and you cannot intervene in any significant manner, you feel very bad about it. You can only go and promise the people that in the near future, when you are in charge, things can change and you can do better. But as it is, it pains your heart that children who are growing need to be taken care of, need to have conducive space for learning, are unable to secure those conditions, and their failure is then blame on them. It's unacceptable. So I think that it's a deplorable, it's regrettable, it's unacceptable, and I want to call on government, if they were sleeping, to wake up and do a comprehensive check on what is happening.
Dr. Pelpuo, ever since he launched his safe term bid for Parliament, he has been busy with donations to some institutions and communities that have made some requests to him seeking support to ameliorate the challenges they are facing. He however debunked the notion that the donation dole out is intended to woo global voters to his fold, but challenges that needs to be fixed.
Oh, I've been doing this all along. The things I have mentioned to you have been done in the last 2 years. This is just continuing. From here, I'm going to another structure to do what I'm supposed to do. The primaries is still 2 months away. I could wait and do it 1 month or 3 weeks to the primaries to convince my people I can do something. But because this is a period, my work in progress starts from when I'm elected until when I'm giving up, or when we are conducting another election. That space of time is available for me to do all the kinds of things I'm doing.
On his chances at the NDC World Central Parliamentary Primary, where a handful of parliamentary hopefuls are breathing on his neck in their bid to defeat him, he appears to be resolute and unshaken about the threat.
For support of the people, I can always say thank God for that. There is, at the moment, if I'm not being deceived, about 90% of support for me. And with that 90%, I don't want to contradict the will of the people. The will of the people says that they want to see me back in Parliament. I'm confident that they are telling me the truth, and that with collaborating with them and working along with them, we are going to make it big for West Central and create a conducive atmosphere for younger people coming after me to see that being a member of Parliament means committing yourself to serving the people.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Our last story comes to us from the OT region, where the Dododompa Basic School A in the KJB district has been provided with a 3-unit classroom block by not-for-profit organization Pencils of Promise. This would curtail the challenges being faced by the school, like a lack of infrastructure, which compelled the authorities to house some classes under a mud structure. There is more in this report.
Dododompa Basic School in the KJB district of the OT region lacked enough infrastructure. This 2-unit mud structure was initially erected to accommodate the kindergarten department. The development had impeded academic activities and also affecting enrollment. Akbesi Sherema is the headmaster of Dododompa DA Basic School.
Previously, the school had no KG block, so the community and the PTA decided to put up this structure here, which we were using for the KG. By looking at it, it was not conducive for the children. So I had to move the KG children to the lower classes, class 1 and class 2, so that we will bring the class 5 and class 6 to this part.
Learning of the plight of the school, the KJB MP, Engineer Yao Gomado, approached Pencils of Promise to support his office erected structure for the kindergarten department.
I was partly brought up here, and we knew what we had gone through in terms of education. We were fortunate to finally have the primary school, but kindergarten and the JHS was a problem for us, especially the children as their numbers were increasing.
With support from an international organization, Floki, a 3-unit classroom block and a sanitary facility were erected. The Ghana Country Director of Pencils of Promise, Freeman Goba, explained his outfit is determined to ensure that every child has equal access to education.
Our core mandate is to provide school infrastructure, sanitation facility for schools that do not have these structures. The other one that we also do, because we know that a school is not only the physical structure we are seeing, though a key part of education delivery. So we also support teachers through our teacher support program, where we provide education or training through workshops for teachers that are in this classroom. We want to be sure that these classrooms are being put in good use. So we'll be visiting the community, just like we are doing for all the other schools that we have built, the 197 schools we've built within these 10 years that we've been operating in Ghana.
When the child wakes up, nobody will ask the child to go to school, because the child knows that there's a good environment where he or she can come and learn. So the structure will help promote school attendance and also teaching and learning in the school.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Dododompa.
That's it for the news. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. And that big story there right now, AG asks Auditor General to unpublish premature COVID-19 audit report. That and many other stories on myjoyonline.com. But stay with us. In the next few minutes, we gear up for the news review.